Thank you so much for being here for our monthly MOAD open mic. We're thrilled to have poet DonJuan Carter-Woodard as our feature this evening. My name is Nia McAllister, and I'm the Senior Public Programs Manager at the Museum of the African Diaspora. And as we begin all of our programs, we'd like to invite you to share in the chat where you're joining us from, and also ground ourselves in the spaces that we're occupying. As many of us are settlers, immigrants, and or descendants of those forcibly brought to this continent. We want to acknowledge that our institutions were founded upon the exclusions and erasures of the indigenous peoples on whose lands we are located. Moat occupies the unceded land of the Ramaytush Ohlone peoples, and we pay our respect to the Ohlone peoples and their elders, both past and present, who have stewarded this land throughout the generations. We encourage everyone to learn more about the native lands that you occupy by visiting nativeland.ca. We'll share that resource in the chat as well. Thank you, Elizabeth. So this monthly open mic is a space for us to be in community with each other, to bring our full selves, all of the different experiences and feelings that we are going through, and share those through art and poetry. So thank you all for continuously showing up and being a part of this space. We find comfort and joy in each other's company, and also uplift each other's craft. So I think it's important, those who signed up to read, thank you. And also it's equally as important for those who are here in the audience. Everyone's participation is part of this program. So I'll be sharing the lineup in the chat in just a few moments. And I invite those who are here to watch to please engage through the chat, drop comments, affirmations, use the reactions, any ways to support our readers here. I know it's hard still being in a virtual space and interacting in the same way that we do physically, but I'm glad that we still can create these spaces virtually and show up for each other in that way. So we're going to start with some of our open mic readers, and then Don's going to do his feature midway, and then we'll close out with our remaining readers. So I'm going to drop the lineup in the chat, and I would like to invite Landon Smith to start us off. Welcome, Landon.
Thank you. See, we hopping right to it. Always grateful. Thank you for the space. I had to come in for DonJuan the Great, so I'm glad that Don's getting the space to be here, and glad to be here with him also. There are children in prisons. That wasn't a punchline. Sometimes I like to start poems with a fact, like capitalism is a plague, or there is no such thing as a white South African, or there are too many white people walking dogs in my neighborhood. One was wearing a Yay Area shirt, called the cops on me and said my hair was disturbing the peace. First rule of Fight Club, don't listen to white men. And what good is a fight club that ain't never fought for the splinters in my back? Spoke to me in fluent denial, language I only seen on the dust jacket of a tall tale. Spent 3 summers trying to find my voice and had to use violence to do it. Had to preach violence for violence sake to break the jaw of the softness nobody listened to, and then consider burying me with my poems when I started to speak from a Lorraine motel balcony about the gun tucked under my tongue, that stash behind my curtain waiting for the next bomb, the next bomb. The next time a bomb shows itself at my doorsteps, I will use thoughts and prayers and arm myself with white women's hot takes, cause ain't shit more violent. Imperialism walking with a hole in its leg the last 2 summers. Threw flares about Cuba and China again. Playing red light, green light with cul-de-sac barbecues, toasting to dead feet on the ground for cash. This empire shit ain't gonna last anyway. And I got all gold teeth, so my poems appreciate over time. So you'd take words seriously. So you'd Afrikaam nightmare yourself to sleep on the rocking chair made from my great-grandmother's whittled bones. Only white people fail upward. The rest of us fall into a 3x3 cell covered in email reply alls and the debt hoisted only the left shoulder blade, while the right trying to work through the punishment from the last failure. I talk to my childhood home on Sunday nights, hoping I'll find a time where failing won't mean I'm 2 puddles under a tax-paid tire, while my child learns how to fail at being fatherless for the first time. I hope I held enough time in their palm to be the reason they keep trying. Classroom might beat the genius out of their right hand, looking for results on a eugenic scale. Cold pressed every fallen brick of grandma's home into my ashes before I left. Made sure I took fragments with me into the next life. Maybe I'll learn that violence only fails when violence fails. And I was never successful at all. And there is only love left in my heart to fail this one last time, so to make it count, I leave this poem in my will, paid for by the failure of my right hand to follow after my left, and that you have to be quicker when they come for you. I guess failure ain't an option. After all of this, the only life you know. Only been trying to see the 3-ring circus with better glasses and no insurance. I'm ready to go home, wherever that may be. Spinning Tracy Chapman records under my still body, clutching Walter Rodney and my rigor mortis fingerprint, just to hold room for one last disappointment on my way to find peace somewhere. Florida backroots talking to the skin on my upper back. Say it got some leather for me, if I don't keep moving. On the wrong side of a North Star train track, you might find my solitary body a sundown sheriff caught a whiff of. Started unclipping holster. Not knowing in my left palm, I pack the souls of the fields, and in my right, I shoot back at cops. Bald fist ain't enough for the weight on my back now, and ain't no sunset long enough for the last breaths in my left palm. So I sing blues spirituals before you ask me why I choose violence. I can't know peace yet, not with this glass slicing my ankle bones, unk. Not with these worn down tires still begging for freedom, unk. Read me my last rites now so I can roll my eyes on behalf of the hands gripping my left palm. I have no choice but to back alley the backwoods, bury disposition beneath Polk County plantation fences. I might dance too. Cut a rug one time for the ones who cut bondage from their left leg to kick the bucket with their right. I stare this plantation pig in the face, knowing to be invincible is to carry the souls of the field with me, and to tell that judge I am not sorry. And talking to hope is dangerous. Especially when hope puts weapon to palm, dims the lights and can't see itself anymore, decides freedom means finally returning fire, pulling shells from the left hip and turning couth into a 3-course meal, flicking scraps out of molars with a new appetite for finding freedom in one less uniform in the rear view, one less speech about the law, one less press conference about the rule of the land, this land that breathes genocide every Monday morning from the breath of its latte while hope gets pulled out of its home by the toenails, asking itself why not shoot back. Why not pull peace from the left bicep, bury it in the next child lost in the gilded ritual, praising black robes and high chairs with long wind and fat pockets, and for hope to speak on behalf of the future chains, future holes dug waiting to fill themselves with debt for a white fence, hope to break light bulbs of a dream school bell sang odes to in this metaphor of a country, metaphor to a headstone placed in front of a congressional hearing ready to eulogize what stood before the lights cut out. And this hunger turned into the next hunting party. And the only body left is the one picking bullets out of teeth. Thank you. Again, shout out to DonJuan. Grateful for being here. Also, No Bedtime Stories of Soil book drop today. Go grab you one.
Man, you definitely started us off right, man. Like I said, always setting the high expectations. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Landon, for starting us off. And yes, shout out to your book, which Zoom will not let me show right now, but go get you a copy of this. It's amazing. Thank you. All right. Next up, I would like to invite Adrian Danielle Oliver up to the mic. Welcome.
Thank you, Nia. It's always an honor to be among the folks, my poetry family, and here in honor of DonJuan. Holla back. And I'm going to read a poem from the Essential Truths, the Bay Area in Color anthology. I know Zoom won't show it, but it's a really great anthology of Bay Area poets, edited by Chisway. And the poem is titled Lesson Plan. 0. H. Her legacy is my inspiration. A. Abolition state of mind. R. Returning not an option. R. Responsibility to educate. I. Take up my mantle. Everybody loves the sunshine, but nobody liked the run. T. Tell the truth in love, though I feel lost. 1. Pre-pandemic after-school program, 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders. 9-year-olds can't sit still long. Pre-pandemic college. 19-year-olds sit still like zombies in desks. In both places, Black writers get distracted easily, can't cursive between lines of notebook paper, can't sit still at desk. Class is a sentence. Second language learners are doing better. It's the Black kids having the hardest time. All my training, degrees ain't working. Separation of self. 2. I asked the after-school program coordinator, what's wrong with Samaj? She says his mother was on drugs. She suspects that he was one of those crack babies. So sad. Me and the other teachers agree. We understand now. A week later, I'm reading Killing the Black Body and realizing that answer is too convenient. I witnessed bureaucracy, the failing of education, too much home unschooling days to count. Present, absent, present, absent, 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 present, absent, 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 present. A classroom of 35 with a wait list on the first day dwindles to 20, 18, 12, 7. I am an essential worker. I have to take care of my kids. I slept in my car last night. My mother died. And the aunt said, like, I'm addicted. I'm depressed. I'm barely living. I'm suicidal. 3. With all the remote instruction, I think about the 9-year-olds like Samaj who can't sit still, who become 19, who become numb, who cannot take another shot of screen time without overdosing, who can't find himself in the light of his headline, his hashtag, his riot, his vigil, his classroom sentence. Digital divide is more than a trending concept. And that Sade song, A Bulletproof Soul, is on repeat at my knees. 4. They say Walmart taking over public education somewhere in great America. Charter schools like privatization be in a police state of mind. Nationally guarded Little Rock 9. I'm the little Black girl walking solo down the line. Housewives growling with picket signs. I'm grown up now and it's hard to remember. We still dreaming. And I was gonna read a little haiku as well, to highlight another anthology that's forthcoming, Black Rootedness. And Carla is here, the editor for that anthology. And the title of the haiku is Wine. To age gracefully, a grape must surrender skin and embrace the weight. Ashe.
Thank you so much for both of those pieces. It's always so wonderful to hear your writing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, I would like to invite Sylvia Block up to the mic. Welcome, Sylvia.
Hello. It's good to be back. I'm sorry I missed you on Thursday. I love the poetry that I'm hearing so far. I'm going to dedicate this to my grandmother, Lily Maria Knowles, who earned her wings on July 5th, 2022. I like to think that she closed her eyes on the 4th of July and opened her eyes in paradise. Joy upon opening your eyes to a paradise earned, ovation at the life lived beautifully, leaving no bridges burned, anticipation at reunion with those departed loved ones missed, never being forgotten, through tears, the memories persist. Imagining a life better than the one long ago left behind, everlasting impact on the lives of those with family binds. Religion not as important as the spiritual walk with God. Unshakable love for your children, a devotion we all applaud. True grace is the face of loss and battles now finally your race is won. Here, Here's to living. Here's to the living legacy you left. Your amazing daughters, your amazing sons. When I think of home and those who make it so, those who love us into the belief in better, I am reminded that before us goes a treasured beauty, loved into creating a world that was better. Four walls, a roof, windows, and doors. We are told a house is not a home when there's no one there. A house is forever a home when someone will always be there. Where you go, they go, and where you love, they love that you do. Rose gold woven through the memories, and where there is love, there is tomorrow's promise that God is always there. Home is indeed where the heart is, and the heart is where home is. And where your heart is, love will also be. And when that love is you, when you are the embodiment of God's love on someone who just wants you to always know it, well, home is where you are, because where you are, they will also be. From Arkansas to the Bay, to her place beyond the stars, home is where the rest truly is. Renewed, restored, reunited in the heaven that awaits beyond the dawn. Purple threads woven with practical wisdom. Those who celebrate a love beyond time, a life of simple joy and family, of faith and principle, of prosperity and of purpose, and of all these things, the most sacred, of family. Home is where the heart is, and God, who within each heart beats patiently inside, waiting to welcome us home. Welcome home, Nana. That's all I have without crying. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sylvia. That was a beautiful tribute, and what a way to send her home. Thank you so much. Next up, I would like to invite the Poetivist up to the mic. Welcome back.
Hello. Please, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, sorry, my network went off. Very good morning to all of us. My name is Poetivist, and I am from Ghana. It's 1 a.m. here. I will be sharing two poems tonight with you, and they are from a collection I have written for a performance on 29th of July. And it's dedicated to the memory of my brother, who 2 years ago bravely took his life. And these are poems I wrote when I was musing on his memories. So the first poem is "The Beginning of God Ends Here," and it's an excerpt from his letter that he left behind. The beginning of God ends here. My dear brothers and sisters, I write you what I have thought to say before the beginning of my God ends here. It is the only way to appreciate our memories. Those I tried to mend out of me but got broken among witnesses. I am by the rivers to capsize my heart, watching earth pass me by. Today I take leave tonight with the dark, and I admit I traded my beginning in rough mats. Now I face loud regret silently within. Scars keep smiling at me with deep sad tears before my very eyes. Somehow I cannot escape the longevity of pain. I think all I have got is time and hope, but time seems to waste my hope, and hope is a waste of my time. So I am living that you survive with love, but engrave the suicide number across my gravestone. Maybe it is the hope to live that made me want to die. I think I will be better off alone. So that's the beginning of God ends here. And my last poem is titled Ode to a Part of Me. I know just when you thought you have poured yourself into love and memory, you heard your friend saying she has found someone new. Not long, your brother too bravely went down as a coward. Next, grandma died, and yourself, you are still recovering from a mob attack. It seems nightmares have crippled your city dreams, and you feel you are dancing hard on a tattered river. And me too, I have been scared on my own, stuck in the dark trying to stay in the moment. My night is bent, my hope is wavy. There are times I see the sun blind on me. I keep falling apart like you inside, but I have done my best to do consolations myself. And if I am being honest, it is not like I am trying to live forever. There are different levels of death kneeling inside me. If it is to be, someday you will see in my poems. But I want you to know we will return to us again when we make it alive and you can't hear the cloud. So do not take yourself to the waters, for my heart will be on you like it has always been. So please, pour if you can, but always mend and come home with your flaws. If it happens that you sink with yourself exposed in the rain, I hope you never become baptized with your memories. And if it happens that you remember, don't keep records of the river. And if there is any uncertainty, I hope freedom sits in between your unsteady city. Thank you very much for sharing this space with me. It means a lot to me. I will humbly request that I catch up on the YouTube upload, since it is very late here in Ghana, and I would like to bow down. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It means a lot that you're here in this space with us. So thank you for staying up and being a part of it. And thank you for that lovely tribute to your brother as well. Thank you. Next up, I would like to invite Normatics up to the mic. Welcome, Norm.
Hi, good evening. I have two pieces. This is lovely poetry that's being read in front of me, and I'm looking forward to who gets to come after me. First piece. Silence is not the lack of sound. A void has nothing to bump against. Waves die in the sand, reborn in the surf to come home again. Air has silence in it. We break it with our breath. Air breathes past the hairs in my nose, the sound of light on the inhale, the sound of a smile on the exhale. Meditation is not a silent endeavor. No one hears a torrent of babble behind closed eyes. A calm facade, a body at peace, tears wailing, garments rending, a wake of fear, blind allegiance to the dark. Radio telescopes listen to the galaxies. Signals stream across space, a cacophony of ones and zeros. A signature plotted for 7 years from the same point. Silence, the only sound we can separate from light. Wonder creates the mystery. Eyes closed, vision focused inward, a familiar voice sings a story. A choral response brings forth ancestral hopes, dreams, footsteps filled with hope and purpose. A village of forgotten memories remembers every spoken word. Next piece. As if because were a reason. As if 7 days was long enough, how could the heavens and hell be created in a week when it's taken a lifetime to become a child? As if this body didn't have 7 bridges to reach across turbulent horizons to the shores of myself. Vibrations sing me into now. As if This life has been a drought. I am ready to share my water, fill empty cups, slake parched throats. Because the river of tears has overrun the dam. Desert sands become an ocean floor, seeping into an underground chamber. Because the breath of life is a hurricane, storm clouds full of bolted lightning and worded thunder. A gust of love cleanses my lungs. Because my blood is a verse that needs to spill between fallow rows of ignorance, fertilizer on the field, a harvest of love filling our silos. As if the blink of an eye is a thimbleful of an infinite me, poured into the pond of eternal. Peace.
Those are both beautiful. Thank you so much, Norm, for sharing both of those pieces. So I'm going to share a quick poem and then invite up our feature for this evening. I've been trying to do some new writing, so this is a new piece entitled Safety Within Reach. For minutes, the dark passageway envelops me, an underwater chamber, and I feel the air lock in my throat. My eyes scan for safety within reach. A water bottle affixed to a commuter's bike, the matching pastel uniform of the city side nurse, a robotic voice announcing our arrival on the other side. I'm learning to fear a place without exit, as if we haven't been cargo below water before, to be rocked in stillness and sound, the absence of sunlight in our bones, transported underground to uncertain futures. 4 minutes turns to 400 years, and I scan for signs of promise that this too is only temporary. Thank you. More to come next time. And with that, I'm going to invite up our feature for this evening. DonJuan Carter-Woodard is a father, son, artist, teacher, activist, and all-around student of life. He's been doing poetry, spoken word, and hip hop since the 90s, and he is a youth coordinator and poetry facilitator at Eastside Arts Alliance and the author of Bleeding Between the Bars. He is constantly learning new ways to express himself and bring a dose of reality from the ground floor. Welcome, DonJuan.
I was still paused. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Yeah, I've always heard a whole lot of these brilliant poets talking about how they just came from performing in Moad, they just got finished doing it. So I'm glad that I finally get an opportunity to bless this space. It's really, really dope. I've had the pleasure to be able to work with a few of y'all, and I'm very, very happy that y'all came through for my little moment here. But yeah, I work here at Eastside. I also run the Holla Back, which is our open mic poetry thing that we do on Thursdays, and also the Patrice Lumumba writing group. So I'm honestly blessed to be able to write every week. One of the things that was brought to my attention is sometimes whenever I go up and I do things, I normally go to like the old faithfuls. I normally go to the things that I'm used to. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do a couple of things that I've been working on as of recently. Cool. So this one right here is called Reconfigured Reality. Breaking my thumbs every time I touch a pen, trying to squeeze out every cognitive idea. Being a poet can make you a sadist at heart. Speaker box for injustice, graphically writing all of my indiscretions on loose leaf. Borrowing past experiences of those drug in the dirt behind me, taking mental snapshots of Confederate flags reconfigured in the Blue Lives Matters memorabilia, wishing all gentrifiers had to be a nigga for a day. Become a common recipient of this hateful concoction we call laws. Red line maps sometimes dictate which freeway I choose. Potholes seem to ask what your annual salary is. starting to take this shit personally every time somebody asks me why there's so many homeless encampments on my side of the city, or every time I have to explain why my city is no longer my city. Self-esteem sometimes tight roping the line of suicidal and sabotage. Wake up, America. We are on the brink of 2022, looking like 1922, feeling like 1822, only to be upset that the people that never wanted me to survive anyway still plot on my demise daily. But as I walk down the street, I still smell the residue of slavery, just reconfigured into something less visible, like overpriced strip malls on top of indigenous burial sites, flickering dust off my doppelganger, trying to see how many times they spell my name wrong, even in alternate dimensions. If these scars still remain, even if the situation is altered, learning that you can't change history, only bandages, only the bed sheets. Still scared of the dark, although the monster underneath my bed is my new best friend, firing bullets off into the darkness only to run away from them for the rest of my life, learning that I don't have to be alone to feel lonely. And what is mental breakdown when you're having it on your 8-figure estate, breaking my tooth every time I want to break my silence. The Hulk's biggest secret was that he was always angry. My secret is no matter how much money I have or how many college degrees that I earn, I'll still probably always be a nigga. Trying to knock the gunpowder off of my granddad's Bible, still praying for peace, caught behind enemy lines. For some, woke as a drug. For others, it's a strategic costume, trying to justify being an organ donor when my brain, heart, and tongue already don't belong to me. Scratching this itch on my temple with this rusty 357 Magnum. My mama says sometimes I'm too stupid to be afraid, thinking maybe stupidity is my superpower. Learning about time travel at the airport, opening portals that I can never close on my own, breaking mirrors on the path to Neverland because all these clocks were broken before my journey. Time stands still, forwards on the side of an obelisk, reminder that the past life that I've always remained and I've always been. So I guess in layman terms, we don't die, we multiply. I'll go ahead and now do this one next. This one right here, I named Strawberry Moon. Speaking affirmations to a strawberry moon. Magic is only mystery to those that's lost their connection. Ancestors dancing, feet in soil. Realizing our connection isn't just metaphoric. Keeping my hair as an antenna. Opening myself to frequencies that keep me asking why everything I was taught feels like a lie. I believe my mother's grandmother was an oracle, able to see the future. And me, feeling as if I made a wrong turn somewhere way back in 79. I feel like my purpose is older than this vessel that I call a body, wondering if people whose language derived from Sanskrit are qualified to translate ancient Hebraic texts or Aramaic or Middle Nature, a victim of flagrant desecrators that will steal the knowledge and burn the books. Beware of those who tell you that your culture is savage, especially those with blood still in their teeth. Marking my calendar every time I feel society got me fucked up. I think I'm running out of ink. The difference between our myths and their history is ours have more truth in them. Capitalism is today's new religion. One nation under $1, infinitely printable with inflation and taxes for all. Asking my taste buds, when was the last time I tasted a grape with seeds in it? If your air was the grayish tint of smoke, should you breathe it? If the story was written by the murderer, should you be reading it? And if I stole your language and gave you a guide, would it be wise for you to believe it? Questions I ask under cotton candy skies, wishing I could truly see stars at night, not just waiting on the new episode of Power, knowing exactly how powerful I am in each forgotten memory, tasting the 12,000 years in each papaya, planting in my garden with tears and intuition. What's going on with you, man? I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna kick off one more for y'all. Then I'll go ahead and let the rest of the people go ahead and come on in. This right here is a little bit shorter. I call it my insecurities. Abandoning this false sense of bravado, for a different model. Determined to build something big, but the inside is hollow. Feeling as if I can't believe in me. Feeling self-conscious about what I think I see. Burying myself in bricks I created. They hold me down and cage me in. In some cases, it makes me feel safe. Knuckles bloody from trying to break free. Under a microscope, no one else notices but me. I see every flaw and expose them all nervously, trying to speak up, but the jagged razors is how these words be. Excruciating to come out, but hurting worse as they stay in. Wanting to be courageous and stand out, but fear has shackled my soul in. I just want to feel love with that heavy chaser of adoration mixed in, addicted to this intoxication. Every time I'm asked to express my feelings, I have to compose a dissertation, disclaimers and fairy tales to hide my insecurities, purchasing things I can't afford to cover up my impurities, wishing that this mirror was a friend to me. Don't trust my inner voice because he seems to be my worst enemy. Everybody's chasing the vibe, but I'm just protecting my energy. Mixing something celestial to alter my chemistry, sacrifice my ego on this altar religiously, trying to revert to the days when I was engulfed in simplicity. And that's it. Thank you so very, very much. Thank you very much, Nia, for bringing me in. You know, hopefully this is definitely not going to be my last time. I'm definitely going to make this a regular space that I join in. And for all of the poets that came before me, y'all are amazing. And I'm very, very happy to be with y'all. And for all the ones that's coming after me, I can't wait to hear what y'all got. So we're going to go ahead and continue on. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. That was incredible to get to hear more of your work, and I appreciate you sharing those with us. And I like hearing that new piece in the beginning as well. So thank you for being here. And before we go to our next readers, I always want to give our features a space. If you have any upcoming projects you're working on, other gigs or readings that you're doing, please do share that with us. Or if there's any ways people can support the work you're doing or follow, you're welcome to either share that now, or if you want to drop that in the chat, that would be great. So thank you. Alrighty, so we have a few more folks who are going to be sharing on the mic, and so I'd like to invite up Aquila M. Lewis Ross up to the mic. Welcome back.
Hey, how y'all doing? Hey, DonJuan, good to hear you. Good to hear everybody. And I hope all is blessed in mind, body, and spirit. I am happy to be back. I've been kind of struggling with writing and trying to balance all the different things in the world. I'm also a mama to a 4-year-old, and that in itself is a battle. I've been dealing with fears more specifically because she's 4 and we're thinking about school, and been trying to figure out whether I should homeschool. I've also was homeschooled, but more specifically homeschooling because of what I'm hearing in the schools and what's happening with our babies. So I'm going to share with you, or actually before I share the poem, I'm going to do this quick little commercial that I'm going to put in the chat, that the experience that I have as an editor for Brother DonJuan. I got a chance to edit his piece, and it is in Patrice Lumumba's anthology of writers on Black liberation. And I'm also joined by 2 other amazing editors, and curated by Tarita Michael, who is Moad's poet in residence. But I just wanted to share the link so you guys know and can see Brother DonJuan's amazing, I call it a music, kind of like not necessarily a poem to me. It was like a music. It flowed with music, and it was very amazing to be able to have that opportunity. So thank you very much. And then this poem that I wanted to share with all of you is not completely done. I'm still struggling with where it's gonna flow. but it's called Give Them Flowers, Not Guns. Have you ever wondered why people swear by guns? It's the next quick trip, bang, a sudden rush, boom, an excuse to hide real motives, bop, an excuse to commit violence. Maybe next time, instead of giving guns, give them flowers. Show them they are loved, appreciated for their very existence. Teach them love and not to hate difference. Give them flowers to silence the song of murder and violence. Some people want to hurt. Some people want to kill our babies in schools. Our babies as they lay dead in our arms. They, not knowing, they just need to chill and let the rest of us heal. It's the cowardice heart turned into stone when someone is killed. It's never good, no matter what they did. Gone, get mad at them. Gone, get mad at systems when wrong is right for some people. That's all I got so far. Like I said, keep me in your prayers, struggling with a lot of stuff. And writing is kind of hard to get what I really need to say. It's kind of hard for me to get what I really need to say on paper. So yeah, thank you guys very much. Bless you.
Thank you so much, Aquila, for sharing. And that piece is incredible. I'm excited to hear where that goes. And I can relate on the struggling for words and writing. So you're not alone with that. And lastly, thank you for sharing that link to the Patrice Lumumba anthology as well. There's so many incredible writers who are featured in that. So everyone, please do check that out. Next up, I would like to invite Kim B. Miller up to the mic. Welcome, Kim.
Thank you. Good to hear all of you. I know it's been a while. So I'm going to do some haikus. For those you don't know what haiku are, they're super short poems started in Japan only in Nature and Flowers as haiku. There's something called senryu, same thing, 17 syllables, but can be on any subject. So that's the difference. And I say haiku before each one, it's not needed, just something I like to do. Haiku. Who lacks the understanding that Blacks have been Tuskegee'd on since birth? Haiku. How can Blacks have mad hate outside the Oscars? We've never been in. Haiku. You canceled Will over a slap, but you still go to your family's house. Haiku. What does a poet say to a predator? Hello, silence. I'm home. Haiku. Can't drown out problems with liquor, needles, or pills. Pain will wait for you. Haiku. You be side dish acting like the main course. No, you're just a doggy bag. Haiku. When strange fruit becomes fruit, does a forest become a cemetery? Haiku. You support Amazon, but you ignore people who live in one. Haiku. Just because they're in your nest, that does not mean they want to see you fly. Haiku. Stop blaming men for having baggage when you have a storage unit. Haiku. Him. You ain't nothing. Me. I was nothing. That's why I picked you. Bye, boy. Haiku. Just cause they don't poet like you poet, that don't mean they ain't poets. Haiku. How come super is a man, but we have to wonder about woman? Haiku. In order for me to be a gold digger, don't you have to have gold? Haiku. Kanye used to walk with Jesus. Now he's walking past strange fruit. Free, dumb. And I'll end with this one, haiku. You were looking for someone powerful. I just showed you your mirror. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Those are always so excellent. And you bring so many topics with those haikus. So thank you so much for sharing. So to close us out this evening, it's my honor to introduce Yevi Johnson. Welcome up, Yevi.
Nia, thank you. That was fun, just to go after Kim. I'm delighted to be here and really enjoyed hearing DonJuan and all the poets tonight. I have 2 poems. I'll do a little music before and after like I do. I've been writing poems about places, so that's what they are tonight, but just a little bit. Hope for good fortune in the red aisle of roads. Only after I left did I learn plantation meant colony or land in the 17th century. Colony was no better than plantation when you thought about it. In 1636, Roger Williams escaped from religious persecution in Massachusetts to land perhaps granted by the Narragansetts. In 1652, Rhode Island's laws abolished slavery. From 1675 to 1676, Rhode Island warred with the Wampanoags. In 1688, there were slaves in Rhode Island. By 1774, the slave population was 6.3%. On May 29, 1790, Rhode Island became the 13th state of the U.S. When I left in the 1990s, the Black population was 3.9%. After George Floyd's murder in November 2020, and Providence Plantations was officially removed from the state's title. While I was there, I learned Portuguese. I played in pit and symphony orchestras. I composted in a co-op on Waterman Street. I knew why Silva cross-referenced with silver in the phone book. I ate grinders and the best saag paneer, bacalhau, and naim chow. I figured out how to drive a stick shift to both Seekonk and Pawtucket. I filled a canyon of saudades with my love for Portuguese sweetbread. I carved memories of my favorite RISD art into the gallery of my mind's eye. I spent more time working at food services than in the library the first 3 years. I visited Block Island and Newport for a few day trips when I was offered a ride. I made round-trip foot journeys from Hill to downtown over a bed of concrete, no river walk in those days. I traveled down the 48 miles of this smallest ocean state, but never quite made it across all 37 in my 7 years there. When I came to this place, I came as a child. I came to study. I came out. I came, transitioned from civilian to physician. I came to love this land of the Wampanoag, Pokanoket, and Narragansett. And this second poem, I just show you right quick, it has a shape to it. So I'll try to read it quick, but for those of you who know, take a quick look. For those of you who know, Michigan means large lakes in Ojibwe. It is not a bit surprising that I had never heard the words si quans peninsulam abonoam circumspice, but I was a bit disappointed to realize that my early education had neglected to inform me that the land where I was born was originally home to the Algonquin peoples, whose subgroup, the Anishinaabe, were composed of a council of 3 fires made up of the Ojibwe, the Ottawa, and the Potawatomi. I'd heard of the Ojibwe, but their other name, Chippewa, was more familiar to me. I was dutifully taught about all 5 Great Lakes and dutifully memorized their names, but only last night did I discover, although I was born on land surrounded by a watery necklace, only 4 of the 5 touched this state, and even though it was close to my birthplace, no one had mentioned the St. Clair. In late middle age, I discovered Lake Michigan makes no contact with Ontario, and Lake Ontario never touches Michigan. I'd always been a water person. Now I understand why. I lived the first years of my life never more than 6 miles from a lake or river, nor more than 85 miles from a great lake, those massive inland seas whose breeze over fresh water brings joy to my heart. With a hop over the Mackinac Bridge, we traverse from one peninsula in this state to another. Join me on this trip back home to find robins and apple trees. If it's winter, we'll put on snow boots and our mittens will be tied to strings. I spent 6 of my first 7 years here, so I could only show you common cockleburs stuck to my pant legs on walks, or jack in the pulpits and pink lady slippers. Ragweed would be the bane of my, if not your, existence. My tremendous hay fever meant that allergies spanned not just grasses and flowers, but encompassed many of the Michigan fruits I loved as a kid, blueberries, cherries, and peaches. Only the grapes remained safe for me to eat. Those ubiquitous apples were always a problem, and in my teen years, the cherries took over from there. No one in my family caught fish, but I recognized salmon and smelt lake trout, bass, and walleye, as would anyone born amongst the largest group of freshwater lakes on earth. To quote Latin, if you seek a pleasant peninsula, look about you. Many peoples lived here before the 1600s, but the difficulty is in the details, the lost stories. Tales of recent centuries explain why English and French are 2 of the few languages in which I can converse a bit. With water so abundant, I know why I'm so drawn to Iyamija and the sea. My umbilical cord blood ties me to the waterland the way the St. Lawrence ties Lakes Huron, Erie, Superior, Michigan, and Ontario to the Atlantic. What I hadn't known until yesterday was that they connected to the Mississippi on the other side. So I've always been connected to my ancestors from New Orleans and environs, even after my family came in the Great Migration to Detroit, the Motor City. Remember, it's a mitten, not a glove. So please forgive me because I don't think I've ever met a Youper, and Traverse City is the closest I've come to the UP. I remember I learned to skate with those clip-ons and their skate keys. I remember the candy apples I could never eat when I attended a freshly minted Martin Luther King Jr. Elementary without knowing who he was at the time. But even a 5-year-old could see signs of devastation and destruction in the great city of Detroit years after the uprisings. At 7, we left, but always remained solid Midwesterners at heart, regular people you could count on. I puzzled over how I had learned all about wolverines, but none had been seen for 200 years until 2004, and why When I was little, 1837 had seemed so long ago for the birthday of this free 26th state, but was not so long before my great-grandmother was born. When my son asked me to watch an episode of Stranger Things, he was astounded that I couldn't relate. For him, this was what my childhood looked like, but for me, nothing was really familiar, and he didn't believe I had never heard of Kate Bush because she'd first come to fame back in my day. All I could say to him was, I could never, no, no, never give up sugar pie, honey bunch for running up that hill. I was always a fan of the Motown sound, so the Temptations, Aretha Franklin, Al Green, Stevie Wonder, and the Supremes were always fresh, always playing, always spinning on the turntable of my mind's ear. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Eva. Wow, that piece was absolutely incredible. I loved you showing us the form of it on the page as well. I think that added to the experience of it. So that was such a treat. So thank you as always. I want to thank all of our readers as well for this wonderful evening of poetry. Thank you, DonJuan, for that incredible feature. Everyone, please do come back. This is an ongoing series. I wanted to quickly share, I'm going to be dropping in the chat as well, another event that's happening with one of our poetry community members. Dante Clark will be reading his book from his book, Closed Caskets, at the Oakland Public Library this Saturday. So if you're in Oakland and around, please go support. Elizabeth has also shared a couple of resources in the chat as well. Please take a couple moments after this program to fill out our program survey. We love hearing from you what stood out, what was impactful, what other types of programming you'd like to see. It just takes a moment and it really helps us know how to serve our communities. And there's a little incentive that those who fill it out are entered in a raffle for a $25 gift card to our bookstore. So we know we have some book lovers here. So please take a couple moments to give us your feedback. And if you are able to support in any other way, we do love seeing you all at these programs. We would love for you to become members, make donations if you're able to, any and all ways of engaging with the work that we're doing, whether that's also spreading it through your networks. We love to grow our audiences. So all of the work that you do to support us goes back directly for us supporting our community. So thank you so much for being a part of this, for this program, and I hope to see you again at our next ones. So take care, everyone. And as Elizabeth shared, we'll be gathering again in this virtual space on August 18th with featured poet Nana Boateng. So please show up for that. Thank you all and take care.